Booktube Nation. I'm Sam here again with Barnaby Books, and today I have for you a big wrap up because the past couple of months have been kind of hard for my family and I. Things have been crazy, as I'm sure they have for many of you. But yeah, the past couple of months, also too, there have been, I hosted a readathon and there were other readathons, and so it's been really busy. And so I thought I would just show you all the other things. Plus here I have for you from my August TBR, I did a very modern classic TBR and that was successful, and I have quite a few of those to share with you today. Plus some children's books and just some other things that I've really been enjoying. So let's go ahead and get started. So I'm gonna kind of go backwards for this one. So the first thing I have here is this 10 Little Pumpkins book. This is written by Rosie Greening and illustrated by Laura Eade. This is just lovely. My daughter really loves this one. I know these are really popular for the kids right now, like these the sequins, and she just loves to play with this one. She actually likes to read it on her own while she's looking at the pictures, but we're getting there, you know. And it's just really full of colors, and the characters are really cute. And it's also a nice counting book for children. So if you're working on counting and, you know, during the holiday season, this would be a good one to pick up. I really enjoyed this one. Okay, next was a buddy read. So my mom and I apparently have found our author that we buddy read like well with. And not that we can't read other stuff together, but this just seems to kind of be our thing. And that is Daphne du Maurier. And I know she's very popular here on BookTube, but my family, we've liked Alfred Hitchcock for years. And so now getting into the books that he did a lot of his movies from is really nice. I need to rewatch this movie because I was really young when we were kind of like in that fad, or when we were really into watching Hitchcock. So I know my mom told me though that the setting is different, and that was my favorite part of this, so I'm kind of sad to see. But this is a collection, and I just read The Birds with my mom, and I really enjoyed it. It's one of my favorite things of hers I've read so far. I think that if you enjoy like mystery or thrillers, I think I would definitely give this a try. Also, if you like golden age mysteries, because I found this, it's very compelling, it's very suspenseful. The setting is just brilliant. The way it's set up, you feel very isolated, and I loved that. So what is it about? I don't want to give too much away because it is just a short story, but it's basically about this town or this village, and it focuses on this one man and his family, and the birds start to go a little crazy. And it starts out very slowly. It's just little things are kind of strange. They're acting differently. They're not behaving in their normal patterns, and then things escalate. I highly recommend it. If you like Daphne du Maurier, it's a definite. So yeah, if you like short stories, if you like thrillers, or even golden age mysteries. Okay, next is another children's book that I read with my daughter, and this is Monsters Love Underpants. Now, I love the really bright colors on this. And first, this is by Claire Freedman and Ben Court. So I love the really vibrant colors on this. And I like the idea of how they portrayed monsters in this. It's kind of a fun, quirky portrayal, but I don't know. It was like a 3-star for me. It was good. She enjoys the colors. She likes to look at the pictures. But the story for me just didn't have that extra oomph, but it's cute. So, and you know, if you're talking about underpants and you have a toddler, might want to give it a go. Next was the Canterbury Ghost, and I have it in this edition here, but I did end up reading mine online, and that of course is by Oscar Wilde. Now, with me and his writing, it's been kind of a funny journey. I do really love some of his plays, but I love this tale. And it was funny because when I looked at the title, I didn't remember that I had studied it. But once I started reading it, it kind of all came back to me. And it was really a lovely experience to do a reread in that way. And it was a good way to kick off my fall. So yeah, so it's a short story. It won't take you very long. It's basically about a family, and I believe they're Americans, and that's funny because I'm American. So, and they move into this old like manor house, and it's supposedly like haunted and cursed and all this jazz, and they just kind of go in like they don't care. Like they're like, it doesn't bother us. We're here and we're gonna do, you know, our thing, and that's that. And yeah, and so it kind of escalates from there, and it's about like the ghost kind of antagonizing them and them antagonizing the ghost, and it's brilliant. His wit and his humor is just so on point, and I loved it. I highly recommend it as a fall short story. Next is this. This is the Scuffed Piper. It's one of those Doctor Who fairy tale collections that I have. This is written by Justin Richards and illustrated by David Wardle, and it's one of the little puffin hardcovers. So these are fun. If you like, they're really quick. They take like maybe 20 minutes. If you like fairy tales like I do, I would recommend it if you're a Doctor Who fan. They're not too detailed, they're not too intense. It's just kind of a cute little take on what if fairy tales were intertwined with Doctor Who. And yeah, it was fun. I enjoyed it, and it was nice and quick. Okay, now getting into some of my modern classics. This is Muriel Sparks, The Driver's Seat. I've been meaning to get to her forever. I've had this on my shelves for way too long, and look how short it is. Yeah, so unfortunately, this was like a 3-star for me. I was hoping it would be more. I found it suspenseful. I found it interesting, but I don't know, the writing style in me, like I just didn't connect to it. I felt really distanced from the characters, and I normally like in like fairy tale type things, I don't mind that. But here, I don't know, I struggled with it. And the subject matter is not necessarily something that I'm like have to go to. It's short, so I don't want to give too much away, but it's basically about this woman, and she's going on a trip, and things are just unraveling quickly. And it's about people she meets during the day, and it's one of those books that's set in like a small period of time, which I usually really love. This was just okay for me. I definitely want to try some of her other writing. I may read this again one day and give it another chance, because I think my favorite thing about this was the idea of it. I really appreciated what she was trying to do and what she was trying to say, but the execution for me maybe was not to my taste. But I think that if you are more into like thrillers or true crime, you might enjoy this more. It's just not really my thing. Okay, I also finished, sorry, I'm kind of losing my lighting here, but I definitely want to get this video out to you because I haven't filmed in a while. Let me see maybe if I can adjust that. Okay, it's better. This is Frenchmans Creek by Daphne du Maurier. I loved this. If you like modern classics and pirates and books about women, you should read this. Yeah, normally I struggle with, because there is a lot of romance in this, and normally I struggle with romance where there's a character who's married, and that's the case in here. But for some reason, the way that you get to know the characters and the way that the story is told just really worked for me in this one. I felt like it was very liberating. I felt like it was really adventurous. There's just like swashbuckling. Yeah, I love pirate stories, and I'm sure if you've watched my channel for any length of time, you'll know that I've said there's a rumor in my family that there are a lot of rumors about where we came from, but there's a rumor that there might have been a pirate in our family, and we do have documentation that there were captains and a lot of seafaring people in our family, so it's possible. But yeah, I don't know. I find it fascinating. Of course, there's a really dark side to pirates and privateering, and I'm well aware, especially of the treatment of women, and yeah, I mean, a lot of it's not okay, but I still like the romance of it. And I found that this was really well done. I found that it was realistic, but at the same time, it still had that romance to it that kind of gives you that like whimsical feeling. And I felt really swept away while reading this. Plus, her writing is beautiful. Yeah, so I mean, if you don't mind a little bit of romance in your modern classics, I might give this a go. Next is this one. This is Illusions of Fate by Kiersten White. And I've had this for a little while. I've been meaning to get to it. I do still really enjoy YA fantasy. I was working on a project of my own, writing some of it for a time being, so I enjoyed reading it. The only problem I find for me now is the books that stay with me are classics. So if I want to read something to like escape and really enjoy and kind of feel like the adventure of, then I can turn to one of these. Now, I picked this up, and I think one other book, which I haven't gotten through yet. I believe Goodreads was having like YA week, and so I thought, well, why not participate? This is about a young lady, and she's going to school, and it feels very Victorian London, which is always nice. And of course, there's, you know, the evil that she's trying to overcome, and she gets kind of all tangled up in this mess of things that she really should have nothing to do with. But yeah, and then of course there's the hero, and you know, it was interesting. The magic system in this was probably one of my favorite things about it. So there is magic, but only a certain group of people know about it, and it's almost like you can turn magic into a lot of different ways, but it's very scientific. So it has to be very specific for the magic to work. So yeah, and there are like birds in this book, and for some reason I enjoy reading about birds. I don't know, it works for me. But yeah, I would say if you enjoy like a YA fantasy, I would check this out because it's a standalone. If you enjoy YA set in like a Victorian England society, this may also work for you. Plus there's a school, and I know that that's a lot of, you know, a lot of people's buzzword. Yeah, and there's also, I think she lives at a hotel for a time. There's a lot of really interesting things that went into this, and I did enjoy it. The only thing I say, like, I read it a while ago now, and it hasn't stuck with me as much as I was hoping it would, but there are a couple things in this book that really did stick with me, especially like the libraries and the way that the books work. You'll know if you read it what I'm talking about. Okay, next, this is my last children's book I have to talk about today, and well, picture book. This is Sophie's Terrible Twos, and this is by Rosemary Wilde. This for me also too is just kind of okay. The illustrations are fun. They kind of remind me of, I'm an 80s baby, but they kind of remind me of my childhood, the way that they're done. Yeah, it's basically about a little girl, and she's turning 2 and she throws a fit. And it's about how they kind of make the day better, spending it together and the things that they do. It was cute. If you have a 2-year-old that's throwing lots of tantrums, maybe you want to give it a try. It's not one of my favorites, but I can see that it definitely has its place. Okay, I finally did it. I read a full-length Agatha Christie. I have read, I think, The Christmas Pudding before, which is like more of a short work by her. But yeah, so I finally did it. I read The Murder at the Vicarage, which is the first Miss Marple mystery, and I figured that my husband does love Hercule Poirot. He'll tell me I butchered the name. And I'm supposed to be the French one. I'm only 25%, so. But anyway, I don't speak any of it. Yeah, I thought I would start with Miss Marple because there's a lot less books and the Poirot series is like ridiculous. Yeah, I liked this. I honestly, when I was reading this, I felt like I was watching the TV show because I've seen a lot of the episodes previously, like many years ago. And I do remember this episode, and it really, like, it was the craziest thing. Like, I felt like I was watching TV. It was really kind of cool, and it really built the setting, and the characters were all interesting. This is basically about a murder that happens at a vicarage, and of course there's somebody who's like, I did it, and of course, you know, that can't just be the end of the story, so it goes into the details from there. But I don't want to give anything away. It's a quick book. It's Agatha Christie. I'm sure you've heard of it. But yeah, it was a lot of fun, and I would definitely like to read more from the Miss Marple series. Okay, next I have Mary Poppins Opens the Door by P.L. Travers. And this, I bought the, there's like a 4-box set you can get. I think you can still get them with these beautiful covers, and I bought them a couple years ago when the live action movie came out. And I guess they're both live action, aren't they? The new Mary Poppins came out. And this actually was my favorite installment so far. The neat thing about these books is they're not a direct adaptation to the movies. So if you've seen the movies, you'll be familiar with a lot of the characters and things in the books, but they're not exactly right. So when you read the book, if you've watched the movie, it's kind of cool because it's almost like Easter eggs. Like, you'll notice different things that you recognize. I really enjoyed this one. They have an encounter with the marble boy in this one, and I just found that really interesting to think about life as a statue. So if you like Mary Poppins and you have a child, I do these as read-alouds with my daughter, and she loves these. And these have small illustrations throughout, so it kind of keeps her attention as we're going along, and she loves Poppins. She loves these books, and yeah, I would recommend them for read alouds or read along, depending on the age of your child. I know there are some other ones, but I think one is like a cookbook. I don't know. If you've read the whole Mary Poppins series, please let me know how many actual like novel size books there are, because I think there's like 8, but they're not all books. Like I said, I think one's a cookbook. So just let me know if you know down in the comments below. I'd really appreciate it. So yeah, but we're really enjoying these. Okay, and next I picked up Passing by Nella Larsen. I'm really enjoying these little Macmillan collectors, library collectors editions. I'll probably do a video on my set eventually. But yeah, I saw this was one of the newer ones that they were putting out, and I really wanted to give it a try because I know, I think the book of the month had, I think it was really popular this year, called, I still need to get to it. I'll put a picture up here. I think it's called The Vanishing Half. Yeah, I'll put a picture and the author's name here for you. But I had heard about that one, and this, I mean, that comes up periodically. It is definitely a modern classic, and it's also about the same focus as that book. This is about this woman, well, these 2 women really, and they're both light-skinned, and one of them has decided to pass, and so she's passing as white through her life, even to her husband. And the other woman, she does occasionally, if she wants to get into like certain places or things like that. And I know that, you know, race issues are really big in the United States right now. And so I just wanted to read this because I really appreciate reading classics diversely. And so I thought that this would be a good one to pick up. I did really enjoy this. It's kind of unnerving though. This is not a cozy book. When you're reading this book, well, for me anyway, I felt kind of like something was, you just feel this tension building, and you feel like something like it's coming, like it's gonna happen, and you don't know what it is. And the ending, I mean, for the ending itself, it's worth reading this. But yeah, I really respect Nella Larsen's writing. I think that this is definitely something I would read again in the future because I think that I could get more out of it upon a second read, and it's really short. I mean, obviously I can't talk from this point of view, but I would definitely recommend the literature, and it is disheartening. Like, when you stop to think about, they had to do that even. Like, why? It's just, I don't know. It kind of breaks my heart a little bit to think about it. And I'm kind of getting emotional just thinking about it. I think it's a good idea to read classics as widely and diversely as you can, especially if it's something you think you'll really enjoy. And I happen to really enjoy this collection of books, so I kind of trust that the ones they select might be something I would enjoy. Not that I'll enjoy all the books from the collection, but a lot of times I find when you find a collection that you enjoy, the classics that they select will sometimes be more in vein with what you're looking for. I really enjoyed this one. I believe I gave it 4 stars. The ending is phenomenal. And finally is Lolly Willowes by Sylvia Townsend Warner. Okay, this book is kind of one of those too where it's sat for a while. This is the oldest book out of all these that I've shown you. The longer I take from this book, the more impact it has on me. Now, I am Catholic, so I struggle with reading things that have any kind of like Satan or demonic or anything like that. Like, I really shy away from them. They make me really nervous because I don't want them handled what would be incorrectly for me. So I get really nervous when anything like that is brought up. And even some witchcraft, like, I try to be educated in the decisions that I make as far as like my reading journey is considered. I always want to be educated and be familiar with other points of view, but I don't want them to make me feel like I'm doing something that I'm not okay with. So just to preface that. So this book is basically about a woman, and she has a change of circumstances early in life. And so she goes to live with some family members. And then later in life, she decides she's going to break out on her own again. And she goes to live in this little town. And it's in this little town that she discovers she's a witch. And she meets up with Satan. And they have discussions and talks and all these things. If it was just that, I probably wouldn't have enjoyed this. But it's so much more than that. It's like a definition of like woman empowerment, and how, you know, a lot of the witch trials obviously were focused heavily on women and the way that women were treated when they wanted to do something different or unique or odd, or if they just really liked plants. And I found it a really beautiful depiction of yearning to be something other in so many ways. And I think that if you can get past what I said and appreciate what she was trying to say, I think that everybody, or at least every woman, can get something out of this. I find it really beautiful when you think about it, because it was giving women an option. And of course, I think it's all really a metaphor, but it's an interesting one, the way that it's told. I'm still thinking about this. Like, yeah, there's some really beautiful scenes in this. The sense of place is really beautiful in here. I really liked this one. And if you like modern classics, if you're interested in anything dealing with witches, which really isn't like the sole focus, but it is there. If you enjoy feminist texts, I would give this one a try. I will probably definitely reread this in the future. This was also a buddy read with my mom. Hey, Mom. Yeah, so I was almost uncomfortable with how much I liked this, and I gave it a 4 stars, and I had to move it up to a 5 because it really does resonate with me. And there's so much, like, it could be just a short and quick book, but I think there is so much that you can dissect in here, and you can even go back to, like, you know, you can reference the Bible, and you can reference Dante, and I mean, just, so yeah, if any of those things sound like your kind of thing, I'd give this one a shot. Okay, well, those are all the books I had for you today. I know it's probably a long video, but I really appreciate you being here with me. If you're new, hi, I'm Sam. And if you're returning, thank you very, very much. Yeah, I hope everyone's doing well, and I want to wish you a wonderful holidays wherever you are, and hope that you're taking care of yourself. So thanks for being here with me today. Farewell for now. Bye-bye.